mommy. I want my mom.
Hey AJ, how are you?
I'm okay. You can see me.
You can see you.
That's the name. That's the name. What's the name? There? Oh, that's the name. What's the name?
AJ,
There?
can you hear me? Stop.
There?
Hey.
That's upstairs.
Okay, let's go. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Mommy.
All right. Hello, AJ. Hello, Duncan. I am going to start reviewing for you guys' exam. I recorded up to 13, 14, and 15. I'm going to record today, and that's going to be on your exam as well. So I'm going to record those and put those up. So they'll be up later on today. I want to talk about what is going to be on your exam. Your final exam is going to be in a standardized format. It's going to be, I want to do at least 50 questions. I know when we discussed it in class, and if we will be doing it in class, it would be like 40 questions. But I want to do 50 questions up to 70 questions for the full length of the test. That's what I want to do, and I'm going to check on that. I think it should be okay. But there are certain topics and things that we're going to cover that I'm going to tell you what topics are going to be on the test and where to find them in the book. I may have to do a few extra videos on a few extra ones that probably wasn't covered in the first 15 chapters that we may have to cover. And it just, and those would be on PCR synthesis of DNA and DNA sequencing. So if I didn't cover those, I may make a little extra video on those. So those are the only two topics that I see that I probably really need to cover. But we're going to get started on what's going to be in there. And I am starting really from chapter 1, really to go over what topics are going to be on the test. Then next week, what I'm going to do is talk about what type of questions you will see on the test, how the test is going to be formatted. It's going to be online, but the questions are going to be formatted in such a way. So let's see what we're going to talk about as far as what is going to be on the test. If we start with chapter number 1 and dealing with what is biochemistry, knowing all of the common functional groups in there, that's the main thing that's going to be on there. Knowing what carbohydrates is, nucleotides are, proteins, that is going to be pretty much on there. Calculations dealing with Gibbs free energy and metabolism. Those are going to be some topics that are going to be on there that you will see. So this is in chapter 1. Trying to see if anything else is on there. And I'm just going through the list of topics that will be on the exam. Chapter number 2, dealing with aqueous chemistry, dealing with pH. That is going to be definitely on there. um, dealing with van der Waals interactions, those type of molecules, solvate, solute, knowing those, that's going to be on there. Um, acid-base chemistry, hydronium ion. This right here, dealing with acid-base chemistry, pH, ionization of water, this pH of the solutions, changes in various pHs, calculating the pH. Those are definitely going to be on there. pKa values, that is going to be on there. So those are topics that's going to be on the test. The Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, I was just talking about this in my other chem class, in my general chem class. This will also be on the test. So make sure you know that and understand that. Trying to see if I see anything about buffers or anything else. That's pretty much it. Understanding the pH. So pH stuff from chapter number 2. Chapter number 3, talking about proteins, the nucleotides, DNA and RNA. That is definitely going to be on the test. Questions on that. I'm trying to see, knowing that DNA, dealing with it as a double helix, that is definitely a topic that is on page 56. I'm trying to see what else. I'm going through in places. Understanding DNA, RNA. Central dogma is definitely going to be on the test. And understanding that how DNA is decoded. That is on the test. I'm trying to see what else. That's the main thing that is on there, talking about DNA. How things bind, binding series, and all of that. How DNA can be altered. So from chapter number 3, really doing with the DNA structure, central dogma. Those are the main 2. Now, chapter 4, this is where it's going to start getting really heavy of stuff that is going to be on the exam. The amino acids, knowing the different groups that they're in, knowing primary amino acids, 1-degree amino acid sequences, that is going to be on there. So understanding them, and I know I loaded some stuff on Canvas about the reaction mechanisms, what else, and the amino acids. Make sure you know those and familiar with those. And with you guys, I'm not worried. I know that you guys know this stuff. Okay. Let's see, pKa values. Knowing the structured conformations of the peptide groups, how they conform, alpha helix, beta sheets, knowing the structures, knowing the different types of structure, primary structure, tertiary structure, protein stability, that is on there. Also understanding things like molar mass, stuff that goes back to general chem, knowing molar mass. That is going to come up on the test. How the structure denature and renature. So that is on there. Trying to see what else. I think that's mainly what it is with that. Quaternary structures, the subunits, that is going to be pretty much on the test. Now, also, what type of tools that are used, that is going to definitely be on there. A few questions about it. It's not extensive, but knowing what type of uh, analytical techniques that can be used. Mass spec, these are techniques that are used already. NMR, so these are some things you guys have seen already that you should know about. Okay, so again, for chapter number 4, protein structure, knowing all of those, knowing about the amino acids. Chapter number 5 on protein function, partial pressures, doing those particular calculations, understanding about that, knowing the difference about the proteins with anemia, hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is going to be a topic that is on there. So understand the differences between the two. The Bohr effect, that will be on there. I'm trying to see what else. So I'm going through the book to make sure you guys know what's going to be on there. Structured proteins, knowing all of those different parts of structured proteins. G-actin, all of that. Let me see, what else? Protein structures, hemoglobin binding, those things are going to be on there. Let's see, what else? I didn't think I saw a lot about collagen on there. It may be a question. Just be ready for that. Motor proteins, how they act, motor proteins. That would be definitely some questions on there. Myosin, there'll be questions on there for that. Kinesin, progressive motor. Those questions would definitely be on the test. So for chapter number 5, that. Chapter number 6 is going to be really heavy dealing with enzymes. What are they? How they work? How they bind to active sites? How they catalyze? How they do those reaction pathways? The mechanisms, all of this, how they form the carbocations, acid catalysis, base catalysis. That would be on the test. Trying to see what else. Enzyme catalyst, the lock and key model. How do they bind? That is going to be a little bit heavy on the test. So make sure you guys get into that, understand that, and know that. The protease inhibitors, knowing about inhibitors, understand that. That is going to definitely be on the test. So that's chapter number 6. Chapter number 7, enzyme kinetics. That's another one that is going to be on there. Enzyme kinetics. What specifically is how to solve for it. So there are some ones, the rate equations and everything. The Michaelis-Menten equation will definitely be on there. So make sure you understand that. The Limewire-Burke plot, that equation, make sure some of these equations you guys write down so that you'll know. So not all of enzymes fits that Michaelis-Menten model. So make sure you know the other ones, multi-substrate reaction, multi-step reactions, all of that. And then some of the calculations, and I know some of the calculation was gone over in the homework. Let's see. Inhibition, the different types of inhibition that would be on there. Factors that influence enzyme activity. Make sure you know in negative effectors, positive effectors, and the factors that affect those. I think that's it for chapter 7. Trying to go through this as quickly as I can. Lipids and membranes. Lipids and membranes. Knowing some of those fatty acids. Let's see with that one. Fatty acids oxidation, so redox reaction, understanding how they go through those reactions. Fatty acids oxidation. Membrane proteins will also be on there. I don't think the fluid mosaic model is on there. I'm trying to see what else. It's going to be a little bit on there about membrane transport, but not a whole lot on there, but it's some things that are on there. Okay, I think for chapter 9, not as much. Chapter 10, it's going to be a little bit on signaling in there. What the G proteins do and their pathways. So like I said, a little bit on that, not as much. In chapter 10, most of the exam that I see is going to come from, the rest of it is from chapter 11 through 15. So let me go back and read. Okay. So when it comes to chapter 11, the monosaccharides, polysaccharides, glycoproteins, that would be some of the topics that will be on there. And so, like I said, just for today, I am giving out the topics that are going to be on the test. And then you guys can go back and look at those topics. And then we'll talk about the types of questions and stuff. And for you guys, some of the types of questions and stuff, you have seen it in your homework. You have seen some of the questions in the test. They may be worded a little bit differently, but it's going to be the same information. So, and I know with you, AJ, you have taken MCAT and stuff, so you understand how some of these tests are already set up. So you guys shouldn't have a problem with that. All right, chapter number 11, glycoproteins. Chapter 12, metabolism and bioenergetics. There's going to be a lot from that chapter on there, looking at digestion, how things work, glycolysis. That is definitely going to be on there. Make sure I got to record chapters 14 and 15. I will do that in a few minutes. But glycolysis is definitely going to be on there. Cofactors, coenzymes. So a lot of those questions, looking at glucose, ATP, the calculation of standard free energy. So this is on page 316. Make sure you make a note of that, because this is definitely going to be a topic or some type of question on there to this effect. Understanding that. Let's see, I'm trying to go through quickly page by page, but that is chapter 12. So chapter 12, glucose metabolism. Chapter 13, I put that up already on YouTube, on my YouTube page. Glycolysis is big on there. So that's why I was kind of recording those a little bit separately. That is going to be big. Gluconeogenesis is going to be on there. Knowing these different phases. There are 10 phases of glycolysis. The first part is energy investment, and then that's 1 through 5. And then 6 through 10 is the energy payoff phase. Make sure you know and understand those phases of glycolysis. So they're going to, gluconeogenesis is definitely going to be a topic on there. Make sure you go over this section and read this and understand gluconeogenesis. That is going to be a topic definitely on the test. The pentose phosphate pathway, I didn't see as much on that, but definitely will be on there. Okay, so that's from chapter 13. Chapter 14 is on the citric acid cycle. And like I said, that is definitely going to be on there. And it's going to be quite a few things on the citric acid cycle on there. So make sure you read about that. Acetyl-CoA, how pyruvate is converted to acetyl-CoA. Understand that. Know the 8 reactions of the citric acid cycle. That's 14.2. Know the 8 reactions of the citric acid cycle. Make sure you understand those reactions. That is going to be on there, the citric acid cycle. The Pasteur effect. The citric acid cycle is regulated at 3 steps. Understand that. So I think that's it with chapter 14. Chapter 15 is oxidative phosphorylation. Redox reaction is definitely going to be on there. So knowing your half reactions, how to calculate those, standard potential, Nernst equation, the Faraday constant, that is going to be on there. Mitochondrial electron transport, definitely some questions is going to be on there about that. So from chapter 15, definitely that calculating some free energy calculations and stuff from the electrochemical gradient, Nernst equation. This is definitely going to be on the test. Like I said, I am going to record those and have those up on my site, on my page today. Now, we were going over just chapters 1 through 15. Majority of everything that's going to be on the test is going to come from there. There were some other chapters that I wanted to get to. But we haven't had a chance to get to them. And the main thing was chapter 20 deals with a lot of DNA replication and repair. And I will see if I have time. I will try to record this chapter because there are going to be a few topics from chapter 20 that is going to be on there. DNA damage and repair and stuff. So if you guys have time, go over chapter 20. That was the only chapter that I saw that probably would be some stuff on there. That's the only chapter that we didn't really go over. Now, let me recap just some of the topics again so you guys can have it. pHs of solution, oxidation reactions, different types, dehydrogenation reactions, group transfer reactions. So understanding the different reactions, redox reaction, reduction reactions. You guys already know things about molar mass, so you should know that. Protein structures, restriction enzymes, so enzymes that inhibit or restrict, hemoglobin binding, enzyme behavior, DNA double helix, substrate binding, lock and key, disaccharides, polysaccharides, know their reactions as well. The citric acid cycle, that's what I told you about. Gluconeogenesis, fatty acid oxidation, enzyme catalysis when it comes to reaction, movement of substances across membranes. Understand that. Spontaneous redox reaction, that's why I say oxidation phosphorylation, that's chapter 15. Different types of biochemical pathways, the amino acid, standard free energy, glycolysis, the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, gluconeogenesis, glycogen, how it breaks down, electron transport chain, how ATP is done and produced. And I know we talked about that early on. And citric acid cycle, citric acid enzymes. Make sure you understand and know all of that. Like I said, most of the stuff that is on there is covered in the first 15 chapters. The only additional chapter that I saw that we probably needed to cover was chapter number 20. And it wasn't my, if we had time to cover that, but that's the only other chapter. What I'm going to do is today, when I get off with you guys, I'm going to go record chapter 14 and 15. And then if I have time, I'll record chapter 20, just so you can have it. I won't put no homework or anything for 20 on there, but they're just something because they talk about DNA, and that chapter go into a little bit more in depth in DNA that it should be covered. Questions that you guys may have. If you have any questions, let me know. AJ, you got any questions?
Yeah, so what day is the final exam?
The final exam, I think, is going to be that Tuesday. Let me look at a calendar. So y'all final exam will be on the 5th.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. And what I'm going to do is next week, like I said, you guys are working on the homework. Your test 3, I'm going to probably open it later on today. You guys, y'all going to have to about Saturday to work on it. So, because I know y'all got other things going on and y'all busy. So, with you guys being and stuff. So, I'm being nice. I'll give y'all a little bit of leeway. And it helps me out too, because with 2 little toddlers running around, it can be quite stressful. So you guys will have a little extra time to work on that. Next week, what I'm going to do is talk about the types of questions that will be on the exam. Today, I just wanted to give you guys the topics, know where you can find the topics at in the book, so y'all can be reading up on them and know where to find those particular topics. And then next week, for both sections, next week is mostly going to be reviewed what type of questions that's going to be on the test. And like I said, you guys have seen those type of questions. You have seen those type of questions before already, but it's just going to be in that format. So that's what I want to do next week. Like I said, chapters 14 and 15 and chapter number 20, I'm going to go ahead and just pre-record You can find those on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link up for it so you guys can find it. But that's just going to be pretty much it. I want to do more questions, but I think 50 is going to be my limit that I can do. So that's all. I mean, that's going to be it.
Who's the maker of the test, Dr. Jones?
Me. I'm having to make
So you're okay. I thought it was going to be a standardized test from a company.
It was. And what ended up happening was because we're not on campus, and Dr. Craig have those tests lock and key in his office. So I'm ended up having to make the test up this time. So that's what's going to happen. So the next go around, if we on campus, the students are going to be taking the test that is in his office that he's
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good. And it'll be like a proctored test.
I'm thinking that's the way he's going to go with it. It may be on lockdown browser.
Okay.
Y'all gonna have 2 hours, so 120 minutes for the test.
Perfect.
And everything. So what I think my plan is, I'm just gonna open it up, and then y'all have that day to actually take that test. I don't know if it's gonna be open during class time, but it probably gonna be open all day because I know there are other people there working and stuff.
Sure.
And, it's just that it has to close out that day.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Good turn. I'm glad the kids are not down here. They've been trying to ask you about that. Especially my one named AJ. He would definitely all over the guitar thing. Okay. What questions that you may have, AJ? Did you get all the topics? Did you write them all down for the most part?
I think so. Yeah, I was writing them down as you were going, so I think I'm probably pretty set.
Okay. Yeah, and if I think of anything else, these are just topics that that from the most part I've seen on past tests and everything that should be on there. It may be a few extra ones on there and stuff, but these are the main ones that I've seen. It's like I said, it's most of the stuff we have covered in those main chapters already. And you've seen some of the questions on the homework. And like I said, next week, I'll show you guys the types of questions and talk about the types of questions that'll be on the exam.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Okay. Let me know if you need anything.
All righty, will do. Thanks, Dr. Jones.
Not a problem. How are you holding up?
I'm doing well. I'm still on campus, so there's probably 25 of us or so still hanging out on campus, and so it's been pretty laid back. Not a whole lot of people here, but it's been good to kind of get some time to relax and chill and kind of look for new jobs after graduation.
Okay, why are you still on campus?
So you had to fill out a form to be able to stay here, and so with some job interviews in the area and me living 8 hours away, I ended up just staying on campus. It just worked out better.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, you've been staying in your room. You've been getting out to exercise, or?
Yeah. It's kind of like we're all self-quarantining here together, and so we'll go down and play beach volleyball or something and hang out because none of us have been exposed to anybody outside of campus.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, all right. Good. Stay safe. Like I said, if you need anything, let me know.
Will do. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good one.
All right, Dr. Jones.
All right.